All right. Welcome, everyone, to a bit of a reboot on Crypto Chat Live. We've got some new faces that will be here. I am M from the Tech Updates. You may recognize my voice and my avatar there. And we have Sean, of course. And then we have Janet, who is a bit new to crypto, but should potentially have some interesting and fun questions as we go through some of these topics. So, Sean, what do you have for us to discuss today?
Awesome.
Hey, hey, Sean, I just heard. Hey, Sean, I just heard there's no audio on you.
How's that? Is that better? Oh,
I will have.
okay. I'm back. How's that? You know, there's a bit of a there's a little bit of a delay in the thing. So how is it now? Technical difficulties.
Always happens.
No audio still.
Yep, you're back.
All right. Looks like we're good.
Okay. Sorry. This is the first time.
Yay!
This is the first time we're doing it with OBS, so little bit of learning pain there. Sorry. So yeah, we're going to go over the price roundup, and it's looking like a lot of red in the in the graphs there. Unfortunately, Ethereum approaching 1,000, which kind of makes me sad personally because I'm pretty big bag holder of Ethereum. Yeah, I think.
That's a little bit discouraging, don't you think, Sean?
It really is. I think there's we're in the panic mode right now. It's everybody's just like,
Yeah,
let me out of here, right? Like, yeah, it's it's a little
But
bit every time.
usually that's usually when things start to turn around.
Yep, I think we're kind of bouncing around the bottom, right? I think we could still
hmm
see like 600 or 700 on Ethereum, and 14 or 12 on Bitcoin. Still got a little ways to go, maybe. But yeah, a lot of flight of capital, and I think a lot of the problem is there's no good things to hang your hat on, right? It's just one thing after another in the crypto world, right? There's all these things that are failing, and Tether and all these other guys, just having so many issues, depegging and Luna and uh, Celsius, right? Like all these guys are just having so much trouble. So we need some good news for once. So yeah,
Yeah, I remember my old man saying, if there's blood, buy property. So I think like this is like the best time to
hmm
get your crypto coin um back in the like buy crypto coins.
yeah. I think you're right. There's this is when it's irrational, right? That people are just selling because they're all running for the exits, and so you need to make sure that the project is legitimate, and that it's backed by real people. But I think
Right?
yeah, I think that's a very good observation. Yep. So this is when the smart money starts to come in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We've had a nice pullback, so
Yep.
it feels good to me anyway to start. Yep.
Yeah, I'm
Like
not a big
this.
I'm not a big technical guy, but I will say we've smashed through all of the moving averages, right? Like you're well below the 550 and the 200 and the all of those sort of candle analysis and everything else. Everything points to oversold. So yeah, I think we're getting close to the bottom. So.
Especially if you're like a dollar cost average type person, then it's just like that just doesn't matter. Like this is a great time.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So yeah, I think just make sure that the project is real, that it's not a bunch of hype, that it is what it says it is. Right. We'll see a little bit later in the show that there were some projects that
Absolutely.
claimed to be something that they weren't. So
don't mortgage your house. And
no mortgage your house.
Yeah. Don't
Not
do
yet?
that. Not yet.
Don't sell your 401k.
Oh, is it too late for you, Janet? You ready to start?
Not yet. Gosh. All right. So let's talk about fear and greed. There's no greed. it's all like this thing is broken, right? And again, this really feels like oversold.
That's the indicator. Yeah.
Yeah. This is just really off the charts bad. So I think that's that's another good indicator here. So, yep, we'll get our fear and greed bumper, I think.
Just a little bit curious, how long do you think this would last? Like the charts going down? Because I'm not a crypto person, and the way I see it, it's just keeps on falling down. I mean, last week it's around BTC is around $20,000, and now it's at 19.
Yep. You need some good news. First of all, the old stock market adage, sell in May and go away, right? Like the summer is a hard time to get any kind of volume and movement going anyway, summer in the United States. So it's a bad time of year to have this happening. But then you just got so many macro things, right? You got inflation in the United States is through the roof. The Fed just announced that we're in a recession, right? Like there's 2 quarters of contraction. The Fed, Atlanta Fed, just said that there's probably negative GDP by 2.6% for the second quarter, which is just horrible. You have the war in Ukraine. You have all these supply chains things. I read an article that there's 100,000 cars owned by Chevy sitting in a lot waiting for microchips that they just they can't. It's fully built. They just need the chips. So all of those things are just weighing on everybody's mind. So I think you got at least a couple of months. Something positive has to happen here, I think. Yeah.
It's funny you bring that up about the cars. A friend of mine was just telling me this yesterday. He took his not very old, I think it's a Ford Edge, to a Ford dealership. It's been there a month. It's waiting for a computer chip that that's faulty. So the car's completely undrivable. There's a 3 to 4 month wait on the part. They somehow got a part after a month, but it's defective, and they can't install it. And so he's like, well, hey, can I do I have the option of trading this thing in? And they said, well, you would if we could get another car. We can't. So yeah, there's just like it's just a sticky situation.
Yeah. Hopefully, people start riding bikes or something. It'd be more healthy. I don't know.
We already did here in the Philippines.
Right?
There's been a rise in riding bicycles.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, I think it's a little hot.
To answer your question, a little hot for bike riding. Yeah.
in Manila, yeah, it's a little rough there, but because it's what you guys are like 10 degrees north of the equator or something, right? It's like right there, so it doesn't.
Yeah, tropical.
Yeah, very
as tropical as it could get.
Very humid. I used to have an office in the Philippines, and we do video calls and everything else. Everybody's like always dressed in complete white with like shorts and a t-shirt because it's horribly hot there. So yeah, yeah. All right.
As for timing, what you're asking about, Janet, like another thing that's kind of always stuck with me is it seems to me that the market seeks to cause pain for the most number of people possible at any given moment. And so if you kind of keep that in mind and you look at how much pain has occurred so far, I'd say we're at least getting close.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is where the guys with a whole lot of money start to get in because buy low, sell high. I mean, this is where everybody
Yeah,
got taken out. They don't have money anymore. The guys with the money can finally come in and
Yes,
they wait
exactly.
for this. Yep. Things don't go up forever; they don't go down forever. And you've been around enough, you know that.
Mm.
So I found an interesting article about Antminers, and so I started looking around because I've been thinking about transitioning some of my Ethereum mining to Bitcoin. Not that I really believe that Bitcoin has a use case, but just to diversify a little bit. And I have a lot of warehouse space and a cheap power. And I found literally on Newegg you can buy like you used to not be able to buy ASICs anywhere. Everything was 6 months backlog. Now, I read this article that all the institutional guys are canceling all their orders, and so I said, "Oh, let me go look around." And sure enough, available for immediate delivery on Newegg. You can buy it.
That's amazing. So
Yeah.
it's a marketplace seller, it looks like, right?
This one is Electric Space
Okay.
or something like that. Yeah. But they had a whole bunch actually. Let me see if I go back one page here. They have a whole bunch. Zcash mining, Bitmain. You can buy it from Bitmain. Like you used to not be able to touch Bitmain
Mhm.
ever, right? And
Mhm.
now it's available in stock. So this really tells you, like how far we've fallen. So I think it's really
So
interesting.
those are the miners that need they just need a power supply, right? Other than that, you just plug it in, hook it up to network and internet, and that's it.
The toaster. It's a complete toaster. You
Yeah.
plug it in, network, done. Yeah. So so this is an
Well,
interesting. This is kind of, I think, for some people who might want to get into crypto but don't want the um, direct exposure, right? Just buying the currency. Mining is always an interesting avenue for that if you have access to cheap power and you don't care about something being too hot, or you can put it outside or whatever. Um, yeah, I think it's
Or better yet, use the heat
well, if you're in
is
a
really
cold
the ideal.
climate.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is
why was there? Oh, sorry. Oh, I'm just a little bit curious. Why was there a shortage of six?
because Bitcoin was 60,000, right? And so
That
the
I saw
return
that.
on
Yeah.
investment was insane, right? People were borrowing money in the equity market at essentially nothing, right? Just selling stock in a public company, buying these things,
Mhm.
and part of the concern about what Bitcoin centralization was that only large institutional miners could get these things because the supply chain was so tightened up, right? These big public companies would order tens of millions of dollars, and like little guys, like I could never buy one,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Same with
see.
GPUs. The big guys will just load up a 747 full of GPUs and just take them.
Yep. Yep. So it's really hard, for the little guys to do it, and so it becomes centralized. The hash rate becomes, centralized in two or three, five, pools. It's not good. So yeah. So that was very interesting to me. And then sort of an adjunct to that was, how far we have come. Is that there's a company that basically lost its lease because they didn't pay their electric bill. This is a
Yeah.
company. Yeah, yeah. This is a company that unfortunately hosts for other people. So if you had a miner and you don't want to run it in your house, you ship it to them. They do everything for you. And now it's like, how do you get your thing back, right? Like, there's an interesting article talking about. First of all, they didn't pay their bill for 6 months, so the landlord came after them. $1.2 million.
Oh.
Yeah, so they have $1.2 million that they can't pay. Um, and then it says they have this little clause here, which is like really insidious. Like, if we mess up, we can do whatever we want with your stuff, basically. Right?
Take possession of it. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So So this is one of the things, when you're thinking about getting into crypto, people say don't invest more than you can lose. It happened.
It's also, my experience is it's good to plan ahead. This is the time to buy hardware. Trying to buy hardware when mining is profitable is the worst time. It's impossible to get. You have to pay through the nose, and that situation is probably not going to, that profitable situation is probably just not going to last that long. Yeah.
So I think that's really another sort of indicative of the times of just how bad things are, that companies can't pay their bills for 6 months.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about Solana and their Solend loan platform. And I think, to me, one of the real wonderful things about crypto in general is the promise of peer-to-peer, true peer-to-peer transactions, right? So being able to, I want to borrow money, somebody else has money to lend, we can do that with nobody in between, right? Just a contract. Or I have services to offer and somebody wants to pay for them, and I can make a contract and do it without anybody in between, right? I don't need Fiverr or Upwork or any of these other sort of platforms, right? This true peer-to-peer transaction. It's anonymous, it's borderless, it's instant, it's trustless. I don't have to know who they are, but I can still do it with security. And so Solend was one of these quote unquote peer-to-peer decentralized platforms, but their community decided that they're going to vote to take this guy's money. And the problem is he had like $150 million that he deposited on the platform, and then he borrowed against it. And their concern was that if your collateral gets below a certain percentage because of the price going down, that it automatically liquidates, right? So he had $150 million, he borrowed $120 million against it, but the price of Solana was going down. And so what they said was, if his triggers and his liquidation triggers, then other people's liquidations would trigger. And essentially, like, the whole platform would evaporate because of this one guy that just had this huge position. And they said,
Cascading effect.
Yeah, it's just a cascade. It's just a dominoes, right? And so what the community voted to do was take over this guy's wallet. And when I first read it, I was like, you guys are out of your mind.
What?
Yes. They voted to take over his wallet and sell his stuff off outside of the platform. It was absolutely insane.
Wow.
Yep. Mitigate risk from a whale. Yeah.
That's unreal.
97% approval rating, but like only 2% of the people voted. So, yeah.
Okay. So what happened with the original owner? Did he end up getting any of the proceeds when they sold it off, or do you not know, or what?
It is like literally, a couple of days ago. So I think it's still in progress. Okay. Whatever's happening.
It's crazy. So, I mean, who would want to use that if that's the way it's gonna? If that's what's happening, why would anybody trust that?
Okay. Yeah. So,
wow.
It's this thing about, do your research and figure out, is it really decentralized? Because, obviously this one wasn't, right? I mean, 1% of the people could vote. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah. So you never know if and that's not even like stealing, right? Like, that's like the community took the guy's money.
Right.
Ugh. Yeah.
He's just voted off the island.
Yep. So a lot of people are saying bad precedent, right? Yeah, and I think it's interesting. So as as a newcomer to crypto, when you start to think about what you're going to get involved with, make sure that the governance, right? There's always a sort of a governance thing where people are going to say, how can we change the rules, right? And I think it's important to read those things, try to understand them.
Right.
Yeah.
It's kind of scary that people can vote you off your wallet.
Yeah.
That's not so reassuring.
No, I know.
That was on an exchange, right? It wasn't just a cold wallet or somebody's on-chain wallet, right?
It was on Solend, which is the quote-unquote decentralized platform, but apparently not so decentralized because
Yeah.
a bunch of people could get together and take the guy's money. So, yeah.
It just goes right back to that old saying where, if your coins are on exchange, they're not your coins.
Not your keys, not your coins. Yeah.
Yep.
So there's an old saying: if you don't have the keys to your coins, right? If you're gonna play, I'm being my own bank. You make sure that you have the keys to your vault, right? If you don't have the keys, it ain't your money. It's because this happens, right? So it's interesting. Yeah. Yep.
So yeah, I don't, it's fine in my view. It's fine to use exchanges. I just never like the idea of keeping everything I have on one exchange or even several. If it's not doing something for me, I think it's smarter to just have some of that in a cold spot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think for the Philippines, you guys have a bunch of options, right? In the United States, here we're really restricted on what we can do, but in the Philippines, you guys have lots of right Binance and
eToro probably is one over there.
Yeah.
So again, good to do some research on those and see what makes sense. But yeah, it's it's a little scary. Yeah. So we've had another implosion. Our friends at Celsius. So these guys basically didn't do a very good job in security, and so they just lost a whole bunch of their founders' funds.
So take a quick moment and just give a high-level explanation of what Celsius is.
So what Celsius claims to be, and what it claims to be, and what it is two different things. But what it claims to be is that just what we're talking about, a peer-to-peer lending platform. So I have crypto, I want to loan it out. You need crypto, you want to borrow it. They meet us in the middle, right? But it was supposed to be decentralized, so permissionless, anonymous, all that kind of stuff. They actually, it's interesting. They actually got kicked out of the state of New Jersey. There was an action from the Department of Justice against them, and so they stopped doing business in New Jersey because they were found to be an illegal lender, which is sort of telling, right? Because if it's supposed to be me loaning you money, right, then how could they be a lender? But obviously it wasn't, right? They were actually being a bank, like they were playing bank. And so that was the idea, was that you were going to be able to have yield on your crypto while it's being loaned out to other people. And they just kind of did a bad job with keeping their house clean. And they closed their doors. They said, well, no more withdrawals, right? So.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Unthinkable.
Yeah, it's crazy. So everybody that had money on the platform was unable to withdraw it, and now they're talking about how they're going to make it whole and whatever else. And I'm sure there's going to be a zillion lawsuits over this because it's interesting. I went to their website, and 2 weeks ago, let's say, they had all kinds of stuff on the front of their website about how it was peer-to-peer, it was decentralized, it was, you control everything, blah, blah, blah. I went tonight in preparation for the show to go say, oh, look, here's this article that says they're decentralized, but on their website, here's an article that says they're not, right? But their website said, oh, it is decentralized. They've scrubbed everything from their website. So it doesn't say peer-to-peer decentralized on their main website anymore. But with a little bit of detective work, I found their Gecko listing, and always use CoinGecko. Don't use CoinMarketCap because CoinGecko is our friends. We like them. CoinMarketCap will never list us, so do that. So Celsius Network is a peer-to-peer lending platform, allows users to borrow and lend crypto, right? And how does it work? You get some interest, whatever else. Okay, now I love this part. Is it safe to store your cryptocurrency with Celsius Network, right?
Boy.
Oh, yeah.
That's a question.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so they've partnered with BitGo. I've never heard of that. Through this partnership, BitGo will cover any losses up to $100 million of insurance. So let's see how that pans out, because I haven't heard a word about...
So that must be total, not per account, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what kind of losses. I don't know. I think they're looking at like a couple $100 million in losses. So this might give you 50 cents on the dollar. It's funny. And the other thing is, here we go. Celsius Network promises to use its balance sheet to offset the damages to clients. And I haven't heard any of that either.
Interesting. I mean, these promises, I guess, are a little bit better. It reminds me of what happened with Quadriga. Do you remember that one in Canada? Yeah. Like, again, people couldn't withdraw, and they were over leveraged. And in that case, the founder was actually taking the crypto and moving it to other exchanges to bet with it.
Right.
He apparently just couldn't win. He was the proverbial public. He lost 90% of the time, and it just fell apart.
Yep.
Ouch.
So I think just when you're thinking about doing something with crypto, just have a really healthy dose of skepticism about anything that people promise. Yeah, it's really scary, and a lot of this is so technical and so buried with so many asterisks and everything else. That it's really hard for the average investor to do anything other than I go with a major, right? You buy Bitcoin, you buy Ethereum, you buy Cardano, whatever, right? Those are kind of safe, right? Sort of herd mentality, but once you peel back a couple layers of the onion, it's rough.
Yep.
Yeah. So we're gonna go to our key crypto of the day, Ethereum. And I wanted to just talk just how sad I am about Ethereum. This chart says it all. Year-to-date outflows of Ethereum, $500 million, right? Just sad. I don't know what to say. You just want to put a tombstone on it or something. It's really gotten. I mean, it went from 4,000 to 1,000. I don't know. Is it still above 1,000? Hopefully.
Can you explain here what's happening with Ethereum? Because I've heard that Ethereum is transitioning to Ethereum 2.0. So
Sure.
what does that mean?
Yeah. So that's a great question. So for the last 6 years, they've had this quote unquote technology upgrade called the proof of stake transition. So today we have the mining that goes on. So people like me that have GPUs, these graphics cards, mine Ethereum. And that's how this chain security is enabled.
Right.
They are moving to what they call proof of stake, which says that I hold a whole bunch of Ethereum. And so as a vested person in the system, I promise not to do bad things. And I'm going to secure the chain that way. Big arguments about whether it's more secure or not. My position is that it's much less secure and more centralized because proof of stake rewards big holders with more money, so it just sort of more centralizes the coin. The founder, this guy Vitalik Buterin, his position is that it's energy friendly, right? So there's a big argument about how much power, right, all this mining uses and the carbon emission, right? So you hear a lot of that. I'm you know, one could argue that you know, baking a potato uses an awful lot of energy too, right? I have to turn my oven on for an hour, but nobody's really
Yeah.
nobody's complaining about baked potatoes contributing to CO2 emissions. But you know, the reality is some things are more energy efficient than others, and so uh, so proof of work has had a target on its back for a while. And so there's a lot of misinformation going around about proof of stake. They have pushed it off, I guess, 6 or 7 times now. The most recent one was 2 days ago. They pushed the difficulty bomb, I think, to August. So there's this built-in thing called the difficulty bomb, which will make the coin unmineable. So it will force people like me to stop mining it because it will just be way too hard to mine, and it would be unprofitable. It would be impossible to mine. So this piece of code was pushed out just a couple days ago that is now, I think, going to go live in August, sometime August 15th or something. So that's probably when they'll transition. There was still some issue. They have these long calls every 4 or 5 days. They're on YouTube, and it's about 20 people that represent the core Ethereum developers. And it's the Ethereum core developers call, and they go through all the technical issues. There's still some issues, but I think they're just going to go anyway and not worry about it because it's just been pushed. So a lot of misconception is, you know, Ethereum has this thing called gas fees, which says how much do I have to pay to make a transaction, and everybody's saying, oh, proof of stake is going to reduce the gas fee. It's not. It's the same exact gas mechanism. It's got nothing to do with it. Oh, proof of stake is going to make the chain faster. It's not. There's still one block every 13 seconds. And the interesting thing is that the people who are proponents of Ethereum, right? These people at the Ethereum Foundation, they don't do anything to counter these misconceptions, right? They don't put out bulletins saying, "Hey, you know, people are spreading disinformation." They like, I think they let people feed on that just to get their agenda socialized and acceptable. So, yeah, Ethereum. Look, if you know, the people have voted, $500 billion left. You know, the proof of stake proposal. So, I think enough said. But yeah, I think that's, you know, when you look at Bitcoin,
Right.
relatively flat, right? 26 billion plus. It's a rounding error.
Right.
Ethereum is off 50%, right?
Yep.
The people
Much
have
more
spoken.
volatile.
Yeah, people have spoken.
By the way,
Yeah.
just make it clear that that is the keyword, Ethereum. Any way for you to put that on the screen, Sean?
What's that?
Text. Ethereum.
Oh, I'm sorry. I had it just here on the second line.
Gotcha.
I don't have a. I'm sorry. I don't have a slide specific.
No problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you think you still think they're gonna do the merge in August, or you think that's getting pushed back too?
No, I think August will happen. Yeah.
You. Okay.
And then, you know, the issue is once that happens, you have 12% of Ethereum, I think, locked that will become unlocked.
Right. Yeah. Not not an insignificant amount. Right.
And the majority of
It's
it,
gonna be looking for liquidity, isn't it?
if you've had your coins inaccessible for the last 2 years and you paid, let's say, the average price, if you look at the price that it was locked at, is about $440. And so if you've had your investment locked up for 2+ years and it's doubled in value and you don't know where this thing is headed, what's the first thing you're going to do? You're going to be like, get the hell out of here. So yeah, I think Ethereum's going to suffer greatly from that as well. So not long Ethereum at the moment. Not financial advice, but yeah, I'm not long Ethereum at the moment. Yeah, unfortunate. So.
Well, these are some interesting topics. I certainly learned a few things. I'm curious. I'll probably go back and try to see what the profitability is on one of those Antminers. But unless you happen to know.
I don't. I just started looking at it today, so yeah, it's in my mind. Mm-hmm.
Even know if that's a current model?
It is. Yeah, those
It
the
is.
the new A1. They have all the S11s and whatever else it is. Yeah, they have all. Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
All right.
They're freely
Well,
available.
Well, Janet,
well,
do you
thanks,
have anything
Sean.
on your mind from everything we
I
discussed today?
have, yeah. You know, before I entered into this conversation, I have like a few concerns. Crypto going down and the market, it's just all red. But yeah, I think that you guys were right. Sean was right in saying um, we are bouncing back at the bottom, and I think that it's just gonna be better from here.
Yep, it's gonna be this kind of slog, between, I don't know, Ethereum's 1,000, so let's say 900 to 1,200, but it may go down to 6, 7. You may see the bottom fall out if some more bad news comes out. I don't think it's going to go below that, and
Mm,
I think Bitcoin, you're going to see this sort of annoying small range of 18,000 to 22,000. And again, it might go to 14 in some kind of flash crash or whatever, but I don't think it's going to go much lower than that. So
Yep.
yeah.
For people who don't over leverage or don't really leverage at all, it's not that big of a deal. If
Mhm.
you are over leveraged and you can't sleep at night, you are too leveraged.
Yeah.
It's really simple. If you can't sleep, that is the reason.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I think you just ride it out. This is a great time to sort of let a lot of the garbage get taken out. Right? There's a lot of projects that are just dying, or being taken out
Right.
by their own incompetence, and the survivors will be stronger, and they will be more legitimate. They will have weathered this horrible time, and yeah,
mhm.
we'll come out the other side a
So
little smarter and a little bit stronger.
yeah, I saw somebody ask how BNB is comparing to Ethereum. I want to know. Looks like it's
Yeah,
from a peak of 650, and it's now down at around 220,
yeah.
roughly.
I think it probably tracked pretty close. I can't get it on this side. CoinGecko.
If
Uh,
you said Ethereum's like a quarter of what it was, or it's actually a little less than a quarter, right?
mhm.
So BNB's held up maybe just a little better
A little bit
than
better.
Ethereum
Yeah.
percentage-wise. Yeah.
Mhm. Yep. Yep. And I mean, look, Binance is a centralized coin. There's no question about it. They have 23, I think, validator nodes, which you have to be approved to be a validator. It costs $100 million to set up a validator. So it's utterly centralized. It's super fast. It's super cheap, right? It's everything that Ethereum should have been. So
Yeah. They're
it doesn't.
not going through a hot mess of a scaling issue right now at all.
No, you pay 3 cents to run a transaction there, and it happens in 2 seconds. It's everything that Ethereum should have been, but it's utterly centralized. So it doesn't surprise me that it's holding up better. It's a better coin than Ethereum. And that's just the bottom. Yeah. So yeah, I would say Binance Coin is a great investment at this
Mhm.
price. Yeah. Yep. I like it.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else on either of your minds?
Yeah, I think we're good. We went longer than we thought. It was 40 minutes.
We did. All right.
Cool.
Well, if that's it then for today, let's wrap this one up. And yeah, we may have Keith back on one of the next ones, depending on his schedule. But yeah, for everybody who misses Keith, look forward to seeing him again.
Yep.
Well, it's been a
All
good
right. Well,
start for me to discuss these topics, and thank you, and Sean, for sharing your knowledge with us.
Yeah, I think.
absolutely. Thank you, Janet. It's
Yeah, I
great to
think
have you here.
next time,
Thank you.
bring some questions. We got lots of answers sometimes. So, yep.
Right.
Cool. All right.
Fantastic.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Well, be well, everyone.
Yeah.